This situation keeps getting crazier for the Phoenix Suns as a major report just dropped from Chris Haynes on this entire Kevin Durant saga, which adds its fuel to the dumpster fire that we've seen from this Suns organization, from all of the management of all of the generational talent, not saying Bradley Beal's generational talent, but Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, all of these star players you have out here on this roster being completely mismanaged, making it a just complete mess for this team, and things are just getting even more wild. So we're going to break down what this report is saying, what it means for the Phoenix Suns going forward, and what we can all expect from Phoenix now entering this offseason, as frankly, there are a lot of moving pieces right now in this whole Kevin Durant sweepstakes, which we are going to dive into. So before we dive into that, make sure you guys, if you're a part of the 67% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, you guys hit that sub button so you don't miss a single thing that's going on with the Phoenix Suns, because frankly, things are moving fast right now. I know the playoffs are on. We're all excited about different teams and all that, but the Phoenix Suns are primed for one of the more crazier off seasons, so make sure to keep it locked to Suns Die just so you don't miss a single thing. But what's going on? Because, of course, we saw the reports, we saw all the news coming out from Shams Charania revealing the Suns are expected to work with Kevin Durant and his business partner, Rich Kleiman, to find Durant's next landing spot. That's no surprise. That's no, shocking update for a lot of people because, of course, Kevin Durant, it was a complete mess. The team tried to trade him at the trade deadline and admit that that was a mistake. Essentially, the Suns, according to Brian Windhorst, the Suns privately admit that they made a mistake not telling Kevin Durant he was about to be traded at February's trade deadline. Rich Kleiman and Durant are flying to Phoenix this week to figure out his immediate future with the organization. So that was handled as a complete disaster last year. You have a guy that I know he's older, I know the value, things are lining up, whatever. You can't just shop away a guy that chose to come to your state, chose to come to your organization, and then forget, I know there's people in different camps, trade Kevin Durant, build around him, you only have this type of talent every once in a while. Whatever camp you're in, you don't handle the situation like this. And this was clearly a disaster class for the Phoenix Suns. This isn't novel to anyone. And we've seen the different teams that have been listed out there in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. The Houston Rockets being, of course, the favorites now, with them being facing off against the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. And after game one, things looking a little bit messy. The Spurs, the T-Wolves, the Knicks, the Heat, nothing novel there. And of course, Evan Sideri broke down how the Rockets' half-court offense was atrocious against the Golden State Warriors. They play good defense, but even though the Warriors only scored in the 90s, the Rockets couldn't pull out a win. So there is going to be demand for Kevin Durant out there at the trade market. This new report doesn't affect any of that, but what we are hearing now from Chris Haynes, what the new report regarding from Chris Haynes regarding this whole Kevin Durant sweepstakes is frankly pretty wild. So essentially news has come out that if the Suns sign a hard-nosed, largely respected head coach, there's a possibility where Kevin Durant stays in Phoenix. Now, this is a major turn from everything we've been hearing. All signs, all indications indicated that, frankly, Kevin Durant would be on his way out from the organization. Matt Ishbia, you fired your, 100th head coach over the past season. Mike Budenholzer's gone. Kevin Durant, things are falling apart out there on that front after the team couldn't trade for Jimmy Butler with Bradley Beal locking in that no-trade clause, grinning at us all there, out there in that screenshot. But basically, all indications with all the reports I just brought up had people believing that, hey, Kevin Durant is guaranteed gone, a trade is happening, and the Suns might not have a ton of leverage, just given his age, even though the man has still put up some ridiculous stats, right? I think one thing that's getting overlooked by the casual NBA fan is just how good Kevin Durant still is at the game of basketball, averaging 27 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 43% from behind the three-point line, shooting 50% on corner threes. People coming out and arguing, hey, Kevin Durant doesn't have trade value anymore. The Suns aren't going to be able to get anything for him. He's a cancer and all that stuff. Yes, Kevin Durant is 36 years old. You can talk about that. Is there a cliff falling? Whatever. This man is still one of the greatest shooters of all time. He can create his own shot. He's still Kevin Durant. Even if your team is just using him as like a spot-up shooter, a guy that can create a little bit and doing stuff, he is still one of the most elite offensive weapons in NBA history. There is going to be a bidding war. We see all the teams that are listed as intrigued, as trying to trade for Kevin Durant. The T-Wolves were willing to give up a serious package at the trade deadline. The Rockets weren't that interested. They wanted to feel, but after this playoffs, they get a first-round exit. They have a lot of assets that can come back to the Phoenix Suns. There are going to be teams interested in Kevin Durant, no matter how badly the Suns handle this whole situation. Kevin Durant has trade value. There is no arguing that. But I've seen so many Suns fans, I've seen so many people just be like, hey, you don't get players like Kevin Durant ever. You know, it's a once in a decade, once a multi-decade type of guy right out there on your team, of course. And you have two of them in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on your team at the same time. There are some pieces on the Suns roster that could still be put together. Just try to figure out a way to put it together and work it out. And that's something where we're getting sprinkles beyond this Chris Haynes report, something that the Suns are actually trying to develop. As essentially news has come out as well that another variable to monitor here is the Suns' lead executive James Jones is working on an expiring contract that only runs through June. Ishbia was non-committal Thursday during his end-of-season news conference about Jones remaining in that role. League sources say Ishbia could elect to bring in a new top executive before hiring a coach. The Cavaliers associate Johnny Bryant and Rockets assistant coach Royal Ivey are two names to monitor, league sources say. Ivey began establishing himself as an NBA head coach in Canada by steering South Sudan's national team in the summer's Paris Olympics. That was a very fun team to watch, just noting that there. But presumably would have had an even stronger connection to this job, and the Suns do decide not to trade Ivey's close friend and former college teammate Kevin Durant. So that's all according to Mark Stein of the Steinline. So right now, we have a very, very wild situation going on. Because as I said at the jump, there are a lot of moving parts to this here right now. Like, this report is saying that if there's a hard-nosed, largely respected head coach coming in, then essentially the team will, or Kevin Durant has a possibility of staying with the Phoenix Suns. So you have that going on, and then you have this report dropping that it's essentially indicating we might not know who the head coach is, we might not know who the GM is here now at this point. James Jones, June, which is a couple of months away, a little under a couple months, it's April 22nd as of recording here right now, but essentially there isn't any decision maker. There isn't anything official. There isn't anything hard lines right now. So you have to figure out a GM, a head coach for Kevin Durant to actually return. And then there's a guy in Ivey that has that connection to Kevin Durant out there in their history. So many Suns fans. Again, some people are done with them, and I get both sides of the coin because Kevin Durant is a generational talent, but he is older. The Suns didn't make the play-in this year, so it's a messy situation. Tough decisions have to be made, but people that don't want to give up Kevin Durant, especially if the market is not what we're hoping for, even though I believe there will be a significant bidding war for a guy the talent of Kevin Durant. We're seeing players, at his level, like LeBron James, play into their 40s, Chris Paul play into his 40s. Like, there are guys out there that are still producing out there at a high level at an extended age. So Kevin Durant, there's a precedent for a player at his age being able to play at that elite level for a long time. But basically what we're looking at here with Kevin Durant is the Suns figuring out their GM situation, then figuring out their coaching situation. If it all comes together the right way, maybe Kevin Durant stays on this team. And frankly, while I think Kevin Durant enjoys playing in Phoenix, in terms of the city, in terms he chose to come here, likes playing with Devin Booker, there's a lot of star power out here on this team. I just don't personally trust Matt Ishbia to handle this situation correctly. I just don't trust ownership. I don't trust management. I don't trust the decision makers in the Phoenix Suns organization to make the right moves in order to put this in a place where Kevin Durant is going to end up staying out here on this roster. And that's just kind of the reality. And of course, you do have Devin Booker, who is going to stay on this team. He came out and directly said it's not always greener on the other side. People want to leave their situation, end up in a worse situation, then they go missing. You'll never have the love like you have the team that drafted you. So at least we can not worry about Devin Booker getting traded, even though he has that massive impending contract extension. But basically, if I'm making my takes here, because it seems like if the Suns handle this right, there's a path forward with Kevin Durant back on the Suns. I just have no personal faith in Matt Ishbia in terms of figuring this stuff out. So we'll see how it all plays out. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want to see Kevin Durant back on the Phoenix Suns. You guys have the best thing as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.